Hello, welcome. Whether you're a subscriber or new to my channel, I would like to start this video with the different variants of being transgender. There is not one right way to do it. It all depends on who you are, what your preference is. Some transgenders, they don't want hormones. Some, their long-term goal is not surgery. It all comes down to what that trans person wants. Me, I'm going to come out and say it that I want surgery, and I'm currently on hormones. When I found out about Jazz Jennings getting her surgery not that long ago, I was kind of like, super jealous. And then I'm like, good for her. I mean, that's the problem. Not a lot of people can afford the surgery. Like me, for example. It's going to cost way more than I actually have access to be able to make that happen. But it's a dream, nonetheless. And, I mean, basically, I really, I have a bad habit of saying when I find out someone who's transgender went through their SRS, pretty much, well, lucky bitch. But, basically, they found a way to make it happen. To be honest, I'll find a way to make it happen too. But how you transition depends on you. Depends on what you're looking for. Don't ever let anyone tell you exactly what you have to do with your transition. Nobody else can tell you. Your road to becoming who you feel you are is your choice. Nobody else's. I mean, legitimately, a doctor can't even tell you that. You personally have to know who you are. I've been on hormones since August 2017, I believe. It's been well over a year. I've been living as a female for a year, roundabout. Maybe a little more, because I actually had started presenting as a female outside of my house little by little before I actually started hormones. At that point, I actually had friends who were already calling me by my name and had quit using my dead name. And the hardest thing at the beginning of my transition was, in my opinion, not looking feminine enough. Basically, I felt like everyone was looking at me. I felt like nobody saw the real me. And that was a huge problem for me. Led to me doing a lot of hiding, staying indoors. People, hey, why don't you come out and hang out with us and, we'll do something cool. Well, basically, I would say, no, I'm going to stay home, do what I do best, play video games, or watch YouTube, which I do a lot too. I got caught up watching YouTube before I did this video, which is why it's so late. But I mean, truthfully, what I want out of my transition is to be no different than a cis woman. And a lot of insurance doesn't cover surgery. There are some places in certain states where they do, but I'm not lucky enough to live there. So But with that said, with the luck I do have in my life and the woman I have in my life, I wouldn't trade. Surgery's not worth that much to me. But it does mean a lot to me. But the end game in my transition, which technically is an end game, but it's something I really feel I need done, is having gender confirmation surgery. Pretty much, you never understand how much someone who's trans goes through unless you've actually been friends with one. And every trans person's different. Like, you know, some trans people, some, not all, downright hate their genitals. That would be me. But there's others, they're fine with it. As long as they look the gender they want to be, it doesn't matter to them. That's where my problem is. Looking the part isn't enough for me. I want to be the part. So, but, I mean, people who don't have a gender family member or friend, they can misunderstand someone who's transgender. They can think, oh, they're just doing it for attention. Oh, they're doing it because all these other people are doing it. They're doing it because, 100 million reasons people can think why a transgender becomes who they are. Well, truth be told, it's just because it's who we are. Nothing made us that way. Nothing broke us. We're not sick. And we don't need to be fixed. Per se, as far as you were born John Michaels, we got to fix you to be John Michaels. No. John Michaels should be allowed to go off and be Chris whatever. Or Caitlin, whatever name that person chooses. They should have the right to not be tried to be fixed back into who they used to be. Once they transition, that person's dead. People got to get used to it, and it's kind of a grieving process that people have to go through to become used to the idea. Not so much grieving the persona of that person as far as who they are, their personality, because they're still intact. But grieving the image of what that person was. That's where people get it twisted. No matter what the outside looks like, they're still the same person you knew. And I've always stood behind the saying that it's better to have a living daughter than to have a dead son. Because what people don't realize is sometimes, like me, I was suicidal because I couldn't be who I am. There wasn't a week that went by before I transitioned that I didn't think about taking a knife to myself or a gun. And it's because of all those suppressed feelings that you feel that makes you think that suicide is a good option. It's never an option. Suicide is never a good thing for anyone, no matter what. It is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I mean, took lots of years of worrying my mother if she was going to find out I was dead, and actually transitioning to figure out that suicide is not an option. All those years ago when I was always locked up tight because of my own doing and just wanted to die, I should have taken all that energy and thrown it into telling my mom, this is who I am. You may have told me at one point you didn't raise a daughter, you raised a son. You're wrong. You raised a daughter. You just don't want to admit it. But I didn't have that strength back then. And I've had people ask if I was scared of my mom. No. I guess it was more out of respect or trying to make my mom happy why I never did. Which that was wrong too. Because instead of letting it out, letting my mom know who I was, I resorted to attempted suicides. But since I've transitioned, I haven't been happier, truly, because I am me. And that's why I have my catchphrase, always be you because you can't be anyone else. I had to learn that the hard way. Because for so long I wanted to be me and couldn't. So I'm going to leave you off at this point. If you like my video, obviously, think about subscribing and maybe even hit the notification bell. But those choices are up to you. Have yourself a good night, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Have a good evening. Bye.